Gemara on Daf Ayin Daled Amud Beis, the last two lines. Hakireya al menas litvar. In the Mishnah, one of the obvious malachis is a person that tears on the condition that he's going to be sewing back. If you're just tearing, so then that's a destructive purpose. But if you're doing it al menas litvar, to sew it again, so then that's a constructive purpose and yechayev for tearing. Kriye b'mishkan mihave. Was there any case in the Mishkan that you had to tear something? The Mishkan they had to build, not to tear anything. Rabbe v'Rav Zeire the Amri Tarvayu. Rabbe and Rav Zeire both said that here is the scenario when there was kriya in the Mishkan. Sheken yiriya shenafal badarna, a yiriya, one of the curtains or coverings that was used in the Mishkan. So if a worm ate up, made a hole inside the yiriyas, so there's a round hole, you have to tear it and then you can sew it back together seamlessly. If you don't tear it on both sides of the hole, so then you're going to just sew it as is, it's going to create a crease. It's not going to be smooth. So you have to tear it open on both sides of the hole, and then you can sew it together back nicely. So that's when there was the kriya, you had to tear in order to be able to sew it back. If one stretches the thread that he sewed and it brings together two parts of a garment, it tightens it together, then b'Shabbos chayev chatos, he's chayev chatos. This is also part of the malacha of sewing, not only the actual sewing of the stitches, but just tightening it is also part of the malacha. Now, in this statement of Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia in the name of Rav, as Rashi says, he heard three things together that Rav said. One was this, that's relevant for our sugya. The other thing he heard from him at the same time was Haloimid davar echad min ha-mogosh, a person that learns something from a mogosh, which as we'll see soon in the Gemara refers to a heretic that you're not allowed to learn from him. He's serving Avodah Zarah, he doesn't believe in Hashem, so you're not allowed to learn from him. Chayiv misa, you're chayiv misa. V'hayideya l'chashiv tkufus u'mazalois. It's one that has the ability to calculate the solar systems and the stars and the moon and exactly l'mayla, how everything works. Ve'eino choshev, and he does not calculate, he does not use his ability, his talent to calculate this. Aser l'saper heimenu. You're not allowed to learn Torah from him, or as others say, you shouldn't repeat Torah in his name. If an individual has this ability and he doesn't use it, so then you shouldn't be repeating Torah in his name. The Gemara will soon explain this. So first, the Gemara begins with explaining the Mogish. Who is this Mogish that you're not allowed to learn Torah from? Megushta. The expression of Megushta, or others are Gairis Amgusha. You have it in the Gemara many times where it says this expression. And now the question is, who is he? What is he? What kind of a person is this Megusha? Rav Ushmul. Rav and Shmuel argued about this. Chadama, one of them said, Charashi. This is a person that performs kishuf. Right? The magical tumah magic, whatever. Kishuf. Chadama Gedufi. The other one says it refers to a heretic. A blasphemy. The guy against the Eibishter, he doesn't believe in God, he serves Avodah Zarah. That's the Megusha. So the Gemara now says, Testayim, I will bring you a raya, the Rav, the Oma Gedufi. Rav is the one that says that the Megusha is a person that's a heretic. The Oma Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia Oma Rav, because Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia also said in the name of Rav, Haloimed, as we just learned here, Adloimed Davar Echad Min HaMogosh Chayiv Misa. If you learn one thing from this Mogosh, you're Chayiv Misa. Stay away from him. You're not allowed to learn anything from him. So it must be that this Mogosh is an individual that is serving Avodah Zarah and he's a heretic. The Isal Kedaita Charashi, if the problem with this Mogosh is just that he's a person that does Kishuv, Hoksiv. Now it says in the Pasuk, Leitilmad Lases, you're not allowed to learn Kishuv for the purpose to practice it. Aval atalamed lahavinu lahayris. You're allowed to learn kishuf in order to understand what it is and how it works. As Rashi here explains, in order to be able to identify a navi sheker, to see a person that performs miracles, to know if it's coming from a source of holiness, and he's a navi emes or he's a navi sheker. So you're allowed to learn kishuf to know what it's about. So how can we say that you're never allowed to learn from a mogish? If Mogish is Kishuf, then there should be cases you're allowed to learn from him for this purpose. Testayim, so the fact that Rav said that you're never allowed to learn from him is the proof that according to Rav, Mogish, the Amgusha or the Megushta that's always mentioned in the Gemara is an individual that's a heretic that believes in Avodah Zarah, and you're never allowed to learn from him. Amar Rav Shimon ben Pazi. Now going on to the next part of the statement of Rav, where it said that a person that has the ability to learn and calculate the tkufos and mazolos has an obligation to do so. So Amar Rav Shimon ben Pazi, Amar Rav Shua ben Levi Mishum bar Kapora. Kol hayideya lachashiv b'tkufos u'mazolos. Anybody that has the knowledge, the wisdom to be able to calculate the tkufos and the mazolos, the solar system and so on, ve'eino choshev, and he does not calculate this, all of akasav oime. Regarding him, the pasuk says, ve'espoal Hashem lo yabitu u'maisa yadav lo yiro. The activity of the Eibishter they don't look at, and he doesn't pay attention to the actions of the Eibishter in creating this unbelievable system, and he has the ability to learn it, understand it, and see it, and he does not take that opportunity. From where do we know that it's actually a mitzvah? If you have the ability, it's a mitzvah for a person to calculate this. And of course, this is very relevant and useful to know the halachas of Kiddush HaChodesh. So it's actually relevant to know how to fulfill a mitzvah as well. Shenemar, so the pasuk says, Ushmartem va'asisem. You should keep Torah, you should learn Torah, because this is your wisdom amongst the nations. Which part of Torah is a chachma and bina that all nations of the world can see? Being able to calculate the tkufos and the mazalos and the solar system and the lunar system and exactly how everything works and to identify the right times of everything, this is a chachma and bina that we have in Torah le'enei ha'amim, and the Eibishter wants us to learn this and to calculate this to show this le'enei ha'amim. Back to the Mishnah. Hatzad tzvi. It said in the Mishnah, the malacha of a person capturing a deer or capturing any animal for that matter, or a fish, as we'll see, yechayiv for the malacha of tzad, capturing. Tan Rabbanon, we learned in Abraise, hatzad chilozain. You capture the chilozain fish, which is used to take its blood for the blue, the tcheles dye that was used in the Mishkan as well. And then you take this chilozain fish and you squeeze out the blood to get this blood to make the dye. You only chayiv once for capturing it, for squeezing out the blood. There's no chayiv for that. That's not part of any melacha. Rav Yehuda says chayiv shtayim. You are chayiv for the capturing and also for squeezing out the blood. Shahaya Rav Yehuda aimer. Squeezing out the blood is part of the malacha of disha, threshing. Just like in the case of threshing, you have the kernel that's covered with a husk, and the animals that step on it press it and remove the husk to have the kernel come out. The same thing over here. The blood is absorbed inside the fish, and you squeeze it out, separate it, and bring it out from where it's absorbed. That's similar to threshing. So the Gemara says, Amrullah, the Rabbanon responded to Rabbi Yehuda, Ein petziyah b'chlal disha. No, squeezing out the blood of the chalazim fish is not part of disha, not part of threshing, not the same thing. Why not? So the Gemara explains, Omar Ravem, my time of the Rabbanon, what's the reason of the Rabbanon? Kasavri, Ein disha elo legidule karka. The malacha of threshing only applies to what grows in a land, in the field. Doesn't apply to squeezing anything even out of a source where it's absorbed and you're bringing it out. It doesn't apply that way. Forget about threshing. When he squeezes out the blood from this fish after he captured it, he's killing the fish. So why isn't he chayiv for netilas neshama? Which is also one of the lamates malachas, as we'll see shortly. The malacha of sheichet is that you kill the fish or whatever it is. You chayiv for the netilas neshama. Rabbi Yechanan says, Rabbi Yechanan shepatzai meis. When he squeezes out the blood, it's after the fish is dead, so he's not killing the fish. Rava Omar, Rava says, afilatayim shepatzai chai. Even in a case if he is squeezing out the blood when it's alive, misaseku eitzel netilas neshama. It's not his intention to kill the fish. he's a Eina Machaven. The Gemara uses the term misasek, but as Taisus here says, the Gemara doesn't literally mean the concept of misasek. We had misasek earlier on in the Gemara where a person intended to do one thing and another thing came out. That's not exactly what we're talking about over here. The concept of misasek means that he's not having kavanah to kill the fish. And therefore, Eina Machaven, we had already many times in the Gemara, Rab Shimon's opinion. Rab Shimon teaches us that on the malachas of Shabbos, and for that matter regarding other Isurim as well, Einoi Mechaven, you're not chayiv. So over here as well, he just wants to get the blood. He's not Mechaven to kill the fish. Fragt the Gemara, but v'ha Abaye v'Rava the Omri Tarvayu. Abaye and Rava both said, Maide Rab Shimon b'psik reishe v'lo yamus. Rab Shimon is maide in a case where a person says, I'm going to cut the head off, but it's not going to die. That's not my kavanah. I'm not intending to do that. In such a case, Rab Shimon would be mighty even if you have no kavanah, but if it must happen, if the malacha will happen by the action that you do, even without your kavanah, you're still chayiv. Only time Rab Shimon says you would not be chayiv for doing something without kavanah is when it's not psik reisha. Like the example that we had many times before, a person that drags a bench on the ground and it creates a ditch in the ground, but he didn't intend to do that, and it's not necessarily going to create the ditch, then the Eina Mechaven is a reason to be potter. But in a case where you're squeezing the blood of the fish and it's going to definitely kill it, so then doesn't Rab Shimon agree that in such a case you're chayiv? Answers the Gemara, Shani Hocha, in this case it's different. Over here, even though it's psik reisha, nevertheless, Rab Shimon would say that you're still potter. The Kama de Ispe Neshama Tfei Nichelei. The longer this fish remains alive, the happier the person is. He doesn't want the fish to die. Why not? In order for the dye that he's going to use from this blood should be clearer. The quality of the blood that's going to be used for this dye is better, a superior quality when it comes from a fish that's still alive. So therefore he doesn't want the fish to die. So Rashi explains, when does Rab Shimon say that in a case that it's psik reisha, that you're going to be chayiv, although you had no kavanah for that? If you don't, it doesn't matter to you if this malacha happens. Like when the person drags the bench on the ground. He's not interested in the ditch being formed in the ground, but if it happens, it doesn't make a difference to him. If it will be a ditch, if there won't be a ditch. So in such a case, if the bench is definitely heavy enough to create the ditch, you're going to be chayiv. But in a case where a person does not want the malacha to happen at all, he's trying to prevent the malacha from happening, so if he has no kavanah and he does not want the malacha to happen, then Rab Shimon will still maintain his opinion that he's a Eina Machaven and he's potter. Very big chiddush here. This is an important point to remember about how far the opinion of Rab Shimon goes. That Rab Shimon holds Eina Mechaven as potter even in such a case. Taisus here disagrees with Rashi's interpretation in the Gemara. This comes up many times later on in the Gemara, on Daf Kuf Gimel, and other places. We'll see more when we get there. Next thing in the Mishnah that the Gemara talks about is Vahashaychtai, the malacha of Shaychet. Fragt the Gemara, Shaychet Mishumai Chayev. Sheichet, this malacha of Sheichet, what is he chayiv for? What exactly is the pshat in the Gemara's question? So Rashi's explanation is, the Gemara is asking, where do we have Sheichet in the Mishnah? They were using the hide of rams to create the coverings, one of the coverings over the Mishkan, or in any other cases that they had to use an animal and they killed the animal to use the animal for the Mishkan. But why would the Mishnah specifically say Sheichet, slaughtering specifically? In the Mishkan they didn't necessarily shecht. They just killed an animal, not for the purpose of eating, but they killed it to use any materials or the hide of the animal for the Mishkan. So why did the Mishnah say specifically Sheichet? Mishumai Chayu, is there any specific chiddush in this Sheichet that the Mishnah is saying that dafke this and not in general killing? Or the Netilas Neshama as we had before. Rav Amar, so Rav answers, Mishum Tzeveya. The Mishnah chooses Sheichet because when you're Sheichet, you're Chayev for Tzeveya. When a person shechts, so there's the blood that comes out, and that blood will will create the redness at the place of the incision. The throat of the animal will become very red, and you chayev also for tzeveya. Shmuel, so that's why the Mishnah chose Sheichet, to teach me this halacha that there's a chiyuv for tzeveya here. Shmuel says, Mishum netilas neshama. The Mishnah says Sheichet, it's just one example, but really all the Mishnah means to say is anytime you kill an animal, netilas neshama, taking away the life and killing, that itself is the malacha, not necessarily any other chiddush here. So the Gemara asks the question, is Rav saying that the Mishnah tells us the malacha of sheichet, that you're only going to be chayiv by sheichet for tzeveya, for dyeing, for painting, for coloring the throat of the animal red, and not for taking its life? Says the Gemara, Eime af mishum tzeveya. No, Rav never meant to say that. Rav was telling you that the Mishnah is saying the example of sheichet to teach me a chiddush, that not only are you chayiv for netilas neshama, like it would be in another case where you kill the animal in any other way, but in this case where there is the blood that colors the place of the incision of the shchita, you chayiv for tzeveya as well. Stop here for a moment and share with you the vart of the Baal Shem Tov on this Gemara. The Baal Shem Tov in Kesser Shem Tov teaches, the Gemara says, Sheichet Mishumai Chayev. The question of the Gemara is, who's the Sheichet? Who's the ultimate Sheichet? The Yetzer Hara, which is the Sheichet. He's the Sheichet, the Alma. And he slaughters. He comes and slaughters and tears a person away from serving the Eibishter. So the question the Gemara is asking is, Mishumai Chayev. When it comes Lasad Lave, and the Gemara in Sukkah tells us that the Yetzer Hara is going to be judged for what he has accomplished and done in this world. So the question is, why would he be chayiv? Why is he going to be liable for what he did? Isn't this his mission? Isn't this what he was created for? And he's fulfilling his job. So mishumai chayiv. So the Gemara answers, Rav explains, mishum tziveya. The fact that the Yetzer Hara comes and persuades a person to do an Aveirah, that's one thing. But when the Yetzer Hara comes and convinces a person to do something that seems to be a mitzvah, he dresses himself up in a way that he convinces a person to do something that he's mistakenly thinking that he's a mitzvah. He dresses himself up like a tzaddik, and now you think that what you're doing is a mitzvah. That's something that he's doing that's not part of his mission, and that's something that a person, when he does this, when he falls prey to this Yetzer Hara, he doesn't have the same kind of a chance to do tshuva. He thinks he's doing a mitzvah while he's doing an aveda. Tzeveya, when he comes and he colors himself and he disguises himself and he appears to the person in a way that now the person thinks he's doing a mitzvah, but really it's an aveda, that's what the Yetzer Hara is going to be liable for. But the Gemara also says, Mishum netilas neshama, as the Baal Shem Tov there continues and explains that the Yetzer Hara is not only chayiv just for the tzeveya, but the fact is he's using this tzeveya. He dresses himself up, he disguises himself in this way, he takes the Yid's neshama away from him. So ultimately, he's going to be chayiv not only for this scheme that he uses, but also for the result that it has, which is the netilas neshama, that he takes away the life, the chayis, the neshama of a Yid. Okay, let's continue the Gemara. Omar Rav, Milsa de Amri, this fact that I said over here, that by shchita, you're chayiv for tzeveya as well, let me add something to this. So later generations should not come and laugh on what I said. I'm saying over here that by shchita you also chayiv for tzeveya, that he's dyeing the throat of the animal with the color red. Why would he be interested in this? You're only chayiv in a malacha if you're doing it with a certain kavana and you're interested in this, as we just learned. So what kind of an interest does the person have for the throat of the animal to be colored with the blood, with the red color of the blood? And says the Gemara, Niche, he's interested, the litvis beis hashchita dama, that the beis hashchita should be full with this blood, so that people, when they see this, they'll see and know, they'll come and want to buy this meat from him. They'll see that it's a freshly slaughtered cow, and they have fresh meat, and they'll want to buy it from him. So the butcher wants people to see the redness of the throat, of the blood, in order to attract customers. So therefore, he's chayiv for tzeveya, because he's intentionally doing this. He wants this to happen. Going on to another malacha mentioned in the Mishnah, salting and then tanning the hides of the animal. Fragt the Gemara, Hainu meileyach v'hainu ma'abed. Meileyach, whether salting it, which is one part of the process of hardening the hide of the animal, and meileyach and ma'abed, tanning, it's all part of one process of working out the hide of the animal, turning it into a leather that will be useful. So why is it counted as two separate malachas? Rabbi Yechanan v'Reish Lakish the Amri Tarvayu. So Rabbi Yechanan and Reish Lakish both said, Apek chad minayu, we have to remove one of these two. It's not two separate things. Va'ayel, and instead we add to the Mishnah sirtut. When a person is tracing, line tracing, in order for a person to cut the hide of the animal to a certain size, so you have to trace first. So the tracing, the line that you traced, that itself is a malacha for itself. That's the one that you add in instead of one of these two, meleach or ma'abed. Rabbi Bar Avona said, Hayman de molach bisra. If you're salting meat, heavy salting of meat, as we'll see in a moment. So chayiv mishum ma'abed, the chiyuv of ma'abed will apply by food as well. Just like when you salt the hides of the animal, it hardens it. It has the same effect in heavily salting the food, and therefore you chayiv for the same malacha. Rava disagrees and says, no, ein ibud ba'eichlin. There is no ibud, this malacha of tanning, of ibud, is not applied to foods. It's only regarding animals. There are also many other malachas that do not apply to food. This is one of them. Ibud is a malacha done specifically with the hides of an animal, not in foods. Amar Ravashi says, Va'afil Rabbi Bar Avona, and even Rabbi Bar Avona that said that salting meat is compared to salting that's used with the hides of the animal. This is only if he's salting the meat heavily in order to preserve it. He's using this to take it out on a trip. A person that salts his foods in his house, a person does not salt his food so heavily to turn his foods into like a piece of wood that's not edible. So in such a case, salting your foods is not, even according to Rabbi Bar Avona, going to be compared to meleach that's used in the case of ma'abed. Another thing in the Mishnah, another malacha, v'hamemachkoi, v'hamechatchoi. Smoothing out the hide of the animal and cutting it down to a certain size. If you're smoothing out the ground, if you're stepping and smoothing out the ground between pillars, Shabbos, on Shabbos, chayiv mishum memachik. You're also chayiv for this malacha of smoothing out the ground. It's not only regarding the height of the animal, but also in the ground between pillars. Rab Chiya bar Abba then said, Gimel dvarem sachli Rav Ashi mishmei Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. There are three things that Rav Ashi said to me in the name of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Hamegarer roshe klunsais b'Shabbos, a person that sharpens the top of poles on Shabbos. He wants to sharpen them to be the same size. So then chayiv mishum mechatach. He's cutting it and sharpening it to a certain size. You chayiv from mechatach, which is always a malacha, which is when you're cutting it to a specific size. Hamemareach retiyeh b'Shabbos. If you are taking an ointment and are smearing it onto a bandage on Shabbos, chayiv mishum memachik. You chayiv for smoothing out the ointment on Shabbos. V'hamesatis esa even b'Shabbos. And if you chisel a stone on Shabbos to a certain shape, chayiv mishum makeh b'patish. In this case, you're going to be chayiv for makeh b'patish for the final blow of making it fit for use. So here you're not going to be mechayev, as Taisus explains, for cutting it down to a size, because it's already cut down to the size. But you're sort of designing it that it should be fit for its use. And therefore that's the final blow that makes it fit for use, makeh b'patish. Rab Shimon ben Kisma, or the Bach says, Rab Shimon bar Bisna said, Rab Shimon ben Lakish, Hatzar tzura bekeli. You designs in a utensil. So the utensil is basically done, but it's not yet ready for use because it's missing that design that this utensil usually has before it gets used. Or a person that when the way they make the glass is when it's heated up and you blow into it to make it its right shape, right size. Chayiv mishum makeh b'patish. These are another two examples that you are chayiv for the final blow for making it fit for use. Rav Yehuda says, Hayman the shakol akufi miglimi, one that removes any protrusions that there are in a garment. Chayiv mishum makeh b'patish, also chayiv for the final blow, for making it fit for wearing. That's only if this is something that you remove that the person is particular about. So then you're making it fit to be worn. Otherwise, it's not makeh b'patish. Another malacha in the Mishnah was writing specifically 2 letters. Why 2 letters? Because in the Mishkan they would write letters, write one letter on one of the kroshim and another one on the other the kroshim to have them match together to know where they belong. So when you write specifically 2 letters, which was the way it was done, the purpose of Kaisev in the Mishkan, then you chayiv. Tanu Rabbana, learned in a Braise. Kosav ois achas gedoyla. If you write one large letter, v'yesh b'mkoima lichtav shtayim. In the space of that one large letter, there's enough space to write 2 letters. Potter. You're going to be potter. Because in the end of the day, your malacha was you wrote only 1 letter, not 2, like it was done in the Mishkan. However, machak ois gedoyla. If you erase 1 large letter, v'yesh b'mkoima lichtav shtayim, that creates a space to now write there 2 letters, chayiv. For this you're going to be chayiv, because the entire malacha of moichik, of erasing, is only al manas lichtayv. Erasing itself is the destructive act. The chiyuv of the malacha of moichik is making space to write. So as long as when you erased, you made space to write 2 letters, you chayiv, even if you only erased 1, but the purpose of the malacha was fulfilled, that now you have space for 2 letters. But Rabbi Menachem Bar Yosi says, "V'zeh chomer b'moichik." This is a stringency you have in erasing even more than writing. So this was Rabbi Menachem Bar Yosi's opinion. Weiter in the Mishnah, ha-bayne, ha-seiser, ha-machabe, ha-maver, ha-make bepatish. Make bepatish, the final blow. Rabbi v'Rav Zeire de Amrit Harvayu, kol midi de ispe gemar malacha, in any case, any utensil, any garment, or whatever it may be, that there's a gemar malacha, you're completing it, you're finishing it off, making it fit for use, chayiv mishum makeh bepatish. The chiyuv of makeh bepatish applies. Eilu avis malachais. The Mishnah finished off saying these are the avis malachais. What is the Mishnah saying this for? Eilu la'afuke mid Rabbi Eliezer. The word eilu here comes to exclude Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. The mechayev al toilde b'makom av. Rabbi Eliezer's opinion is that even when a person performs an av, and along with it a toilde, which is a branch of this av, but you're going to be chayiv twice. You're going to be chayiv 1 korban chatas for the av and another one for the toilde. So here the Mishnah is saying it's these 39. The maximum you can be chayiv on 1 Shabbos is only 39, and another toilde you won't be chayiv another time for that toilde. Chaser achas. So the Mishnah says that it's 39. 40 minus 1. Only 39, not more. This excludes from Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. The Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda, Moisef, Rabbi Yehuda added as ha-shoivit v'ha-medaktik. Rabbi Yehuda added shoivit and medaktik. What is shoivit and medaktik? So you have the threads that are used in weaving that go in 2 directions, the shesi and the erev, vertical, they come in 2 directions, the shesi and the erev, so they have to be flat, straightened out, aligned properly. That's shoivit is aligning the shesi, and the medaktik is beating it in order to make sure that it has the right space regarding the one going in the erev, in the other direction. Okay, so the shoivit and medaktik are another 2 malachis that are important, that are critical for this weaving to be done properly. Amrulai, so they answered and they said to him, shoivit hareu b'chlal meisach. Shoivit should not be counted as a separate malacha. It's part of meisach. When they stretch out the threads on the looms, so that includes lining it up as well, lining it that it should be properly aligned. That's part of meisach. Medaktik hareu b'chlal oirig. Medaktik, which is the thread that you throw in the other direction, that you throw back and forth in the other direction, and making sure that is stretched properly. That's what medaktik is, that it's made sure to be stretched properly. That's b'chlal oidig. That's part of the malacha of weaving itself. So therefore it's not counted separately. It's hard to describe this without a picture. If we would be doing this shir live, I would show you the picture that there has in some Gemaras to describe this. But the point is that there's the threads that go in the 2 directions. So whatever is necessary to be done with the thread going in one direction and the thread in the other direction, it's all included in one malacha, and therefore we don't count it as a separate malacha.